Hello and a very good morning. This is your English language instructor and welcome back to our English class. We'll be talking about principles of editing. So what is editing and what are the principles? Today's class is to first introduce my students to editing, also make them familiar with copy editing and copy editors, and how to edit headlines and leads. The objectives of today's lesson are as follows: to introduce the principles of editing in a news organization, to explain the role of editing in a newsroom, to provide guidelines on how to edit a copy, and to emphasize the importance of crafting effective headlines and leads. Also, let's start with our first part or first sequence of today's lesson, that is editing. So what is editing? Editing is defined as sorting out and shifting helps induce parity between the well-written articles and those written by inexperienced reporting. Primarily, these are the functions of editing. So why do you need editing? Because it helps you sort out and sift or induce parity between the well-written articles and those written by inexperienced reporters. It is also the unwanted matter gets weeded out and only the newsworthy stories are finally selected. And these are checked for grammar, syntax, facts, figures, and sense, and also clarified for betterment and are considered for economy of space. News editing primarily tailor news items or a news story to the required shape and size, to use the right kind of expressions and symbols, and to highlight the news sense in a story and bringing in uniformity of language and style in an issue of a newspaper. So you see those examples of when we're watching something on the news or media channels, whatever news that is given to us goes through so much editing before it's finalized. It's not that, for example, some accident takes place and the information is just shared as it is. They have to go through so much editing, choosing the right words, the accurate grammar structure, the accurate vocabulary, and the tone and the pitch of the words. Everything matters because of editing. Now, how to edit a copy? There are three main things. First is the format, then opening paragraph, and then rewriting. So the format, a news story is divided into two parts. The opening paragraph, which is called the introduction or the lead, and the second part, which is called the body. The lead is generally a summary of the entire body, okay? So adequate attention should be paid to the lead, the most important part of the story. In order to make someone read your entire news, your entire piece of essay that you've just written, say you're talking about an artist who sketches nature in 3D dimensions or 4D dimensions, this is a newsworthy information. Now, what you have to do is create a lead, like a short summary of your entire news in such a captivating way that the reader would be willing to go through your entire article. The opening paragraph is very crucial. It should be concise and crisp. Crisp means clear and has so much flavor in it that you would just want to go through rest of the article. And it should summarize the story in about 25 words or less, no more than that. In rewriting, the sub-editor should look for errors in spelling, grammar, syntax, and correct them. Okay? It's a copy editor. Let's talk about that. A copy editor, generally known as the sub-editor or desk person, is a gatekeeper and image builder who protects a newspaper's reputation. He's someone, after the editing is done, you take it to them and he finally gives it a heads up. So he goes through the entire article, he reads it again, and if there is any mistake in it, it will go back to the editor. But if it is clear, then he gives it a heads up, a yes, and then it goes out for publication. Now, what are the duties of a copy editor? First is to polish the copy. He needs to remove rough edges from the copy to make it presentable and pleasing to the readers. He should also know how to adjust to the style of the newspaper, and also write in a familiar language. You should also know how to tailor story length to space requirements, to also detect and correct errors of facts, to simplify, clarify, and verify meanings, to adjust stories to make them objective and fair, to adjust stories to make them legally safe, so that nobody could, sue them for defamation or disrespect or whatsoever later on. To rewrite and restructure stories, so clarifying the copy for the sake of clarity and respecting the facts produced by the reporter. To follow the policy of newspaper, to correct copy in the interest of good taste, so that it ensures that the copy is appropriate and in good taste, which means it is a yes to go out for publication. And then to avoid sensation, to try to, share any resentful information. To remove undue publicity or puff, which means to avoid excessive or biased promotion. To check spelling, which is to ensure that words are spelled correctly to maintain. So, what are the qualities of a copy editor? First, calmness. He should always remain calm, composed in every type of situation. He should be decisive, which means he should know how to make quick and correct decisions. He should not be part of any partisanship. Non-partisanship, avoiding taking sides. Then sharp memory. He should have a sharp memory for counter-checking facts. He should know how to take grasp of the situation. Excuse me. He should have knowledge of the readership so that he should know who this article is going out to. He should be self-confident. He should be mature. And he should be skeptical, because he needs to approach every type of information as a source of potential error. Because if he's not skeptical, he would not be able to extract the mistakes or the errors that are in the article. So he should be always skeptical about whatever information or whatever piece of article he has in front of him. And then stability, working under pressure and maintaining composure. So if any work comes in between and it requires a lot of effort and the time is short, that is called working under pressure. So he should know how to maintain his composure and stay calm. Let's talk about the structure of or editing headlines and leads. So the headline criteria are first, the headline is the first opportunity to capture a reader's attention and entice them to read the story. It's the most persuasive part of any news event. A headline should educate, entertain, and stimulate readership, leading them to read the story beneath it. It should be sharp, conveying the essence of the story, and be active and positive, and written in the present tense for immediacy. Commonly known abbreviations should be used. Names should not be split between lines, and articles like the, and a are generally omitted. Single quotation marks are preferred over double quotation marks in headlines for space efficiency and attractiveness. And common sense should guide clarity in headline writing. So, headline styles, we have kicker. A kicker is a one-line headline with a second line kicker above it in a different style, lending variety to the page. It should extend no more than midway above the main headline. So a kicker is more like you say, helping out the poor. What you seek is seeking you. Something like that, you know? Is more like, you know, a kicker. A hammer, on the other hand, is the reverse of a kicker, usually in all capital letters with the big type as the kicker and the smaller type as the main headline. Hammers impress readers with their importance but should be used judicially to maintain significance. So you can see those examples. There are different types of headlines that can be used. Hammerhead is big on top, small bottom, like you see those examples. And kicker, as you see in the next one, small headline, often in italics and usually underlined, above and slightly to the left of the main head. The main headline is indented. Like you see, homes receive personal touch. Fixed store helps improve quarters. Now you see, that's an example of a kicker. On the other hand, the hammer is, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay? Okay, let's talk about lead. Lead is always the opening section of an article and it follows the headline. So first we have the headline, and then there is this short, brief summary that you see right next to the under the headline. That is mainly the lead, and it is a summary, a general summary of the entire article that is after the lead. Now you see this example in Daily News. We have Alex wins. That's the headline. Byline and date is who has written this article. So it's written by Andrew Knight on August 2, 2021. Now this is the lead. Alex from 5B wins school chess tournament after exciting match. So that's a short summary of the entire article. And then you have this entire article, which can also be divided into subheadings like 2 hours of suspense. That's one subhead. Then you can also add photos and illustrations, and then you have the body text. You have a quiz to attempt. You just need to scan the QR code and attempt the quiz. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Thank you for being with me in today's class.